Hi, my name is Debra R. Richardson of Debra R. Richardson LLC, and I help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes so that you can pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is 3 instances where employees were fined or sued because of payment fraud. So we know that payment fraud, business email compromise, all types of fraud is a global issue. And we know that if fraudulent payments don't go out, then it saves your company money and it gets your vendor paid faster. Well, what we typically never talk about is the effect on you or your team. So while you know fraud is evolving, what you may not be aware of is so are the actions that companies are taking against employees. Now, in the US, I have only heard of employees being fired. That's bad enough. But in the UK, there are at least 2 incidents where employers are taking stronger action. So the first one, a worker was fined $7,500 because he wired 3 payments totaling almost $512,000 to the vendor without confirming with them. And that was their policy. The second one, an employee was actually sued because she paid a cyber criminal a net of 138,000. I think the original amount was over 200,000, but they were able to recover some of it, but the net loss was 138. And now she was sued. The judge did rule in her favor because they said the company had not um, given the employees training in 3 to 4 years on how to recognize cyber or fraudulent emails or scams. And however, she said, right, she's glad that the judge ruled in her favor, but she considered herself unemployable because if anyone Googles her name, that's going to come up. So if you want to try to put something in front of your leadership and you think that they are not going to approve it, well, here's something that might help. Um, just let them know that a company in Australia fired both their CEO and CFO after a $61 million fraud incurred or occurred. They were both sued again with the suing, but they were both sued. And again, the judge dismissed the cases, but you can see that there is still the threat and the trend of employers taking action against employees. And so I wrote a blog about that. And it's called Protect Yourself in an Email Scam. And while we all know most payment frauds start in email with fraudsters pretending to be your vendor and asking you to change banking for an electronic payment method or a remittance address for check payment methods, yes, they're still trying to get checks too to divert your vendor's payment. So here's a blog I wrote about how to protect yourself from an email scam, and it gives you steps for authentication. And I also did a previous Vendor Master File tip of the week on authentication, so I'll link to it after the end, or you'll see it at the end of this video. So check that out if you are interested. Now, if you'd like more information on how to improve your vendor processes, please go to my site at debrarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and bad vendor data. So good luck, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.